Hey guys, welcome to today's MapleStory video. Today I present you my commentary on how to maximize your damage as a shadower. This is valid for 5th job because final damage boost is a multiplicative scalar, which means all of it is multiplied onto existing final damage. I'll be using the dojo scarecrows. Here are their stats. The first one I'll use is a low resistance low PDR one, and the second will emulate what I'll do on endgame bosses. I see a lot of shadowers underutilizing some of their abilities. There is a lot of potential within a shadower, and while we do not match a dual blade in outright burst damage, the gap between us is highly exaggerated. In this video, I'll be showing you how to maximize our damage output using some of the skill mechanics given to shadowers. I'll be referring to this output as burst output because some of the skills I use have cooldowns. Now exactly how much extra damage will you expect to see? Well, on bosses such as Chaos Vellum, the difference is about 20% overall. So if you're dealing 1 build damage per second, your burst could be about 1.2 build damage per second. Of course, the gain you see depends on your items. So which skills do you need to use? There are 4 key skills: Assassinate, Darksight, Smokescreen, and Veil of Shadows. So let's go through what exactly each skill does in relation to the others. Assassinate is the primary attacking skill. If you think Midnight Carnival is still relevant, I do a test in the video to show you it's about half as strong once we raise the cap to 10 bill, which is an unreachable cap as of right now, and Santa doesn't even reach 10% of that cap on endgame bosses. Assassinate is a 2-part skill, and its damage does fluctuate depending on killer instinct. If you read the description for Assassinate, it also mentions a bonus 150% damage when using Darksight. The reason why this damage boost is underutilized is because of how Darksight interacts with Assassinate. Once you cast the second hit of Assassinate, you're forced to exit Darksight, losing the 150% bonus damage. But there are ways to prolong this Darksight, and that is to use Smokescreen and Veil of Shadows. Smokescreen lasts for 30 seconds, but has a cooldown of 150 seconds. Its bonus effect is that if you're in Darksight while standing in Smokescreen, you remain in Darksight 100% of the time. You do not exit after using the second hit of Assassinate. So for 30 seconds, you gain this 150% damage boost. Furthermore, Smokescreen adds about 20% critical damage, which can greatly enhance your outputs. Remember, the 20% approximate gain I mentioned is factoring what I've experienced. If you have less % boss and less % critical damage than I do, then you expect a much more dramatic increase. Now, as to why Veil of Shadows is important. It is our hyper attack skill, but the damage it provides is subpar when you assess it by itself. But Veil of Shadows also has the effect of prolonging Darksight. So for another 12 seconds you can remain in Darksight. Now, onto the results. Firstly, on low resistance low PDR dummies, simply spamming Assassinate dealt approximately 4.74 bill per second. In contrast, using Midnight Carnival dealt approximately 1.93 bill per second. When using Darksight, Smokescreen and Veil of Shadows alongside Assassinate, the damage per second increased to about 5.7 bill damage per second, approximately a 20% gain. Veil of Shadows accounted for 4% of this damage increase. Now moving on to the high resistance high PDR dummy. Simply spamming Assassinate dealt approximately 1.95 bill damage per second, about the same as using Midnight Carnival on non-PDR bosses. When using Darksight, Smokescreen and Veil of Shadows alongside Assassinate, the damage per second increased to about 2.3 bill per second, approximately a 17% gain. However, the number of attacks actually used was less than simply spamming. This is because you have to factor in the time to cast Assassinate, cast Veil of Shadows, cast Darksight, and also to cast Smokescreen. I repeated the test on a high resistance PDR dummy, but replaced my 20% boss potion for a 20% PDR potion. This boosted my PDR to 94%. The results were interesting. Simply spamming Assassinate yielded 2 bill per second with an error of 0.7%. This is small since this was still a 3.6% gain, or a 2.9% gain once you factor in the error. The results got even weirder. Once I used the Darksight, Smokescreen and Veil combo with Assassinate, where the increase was closer to 1.9% after removing the errors. This suggests that my character adding 20% boss is worse than adding 20% PDR. Anyway, I hope you found this video informative. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. I'll just play the remaining test footage as the tail end of the video for those who are interested.